Hey brewers, it's Bradley. Welcome back to the channel. Portland gentlemen, it's great to have you with me here today. Research it, mash it, boil it, ferment it, drink it, analyze it, share it. Home brewing is good. Today's video is all about the Brewtools MiniUni Pressure Kit. This will be a full tutorial as well as, my usual kind of how-to and comments. Also going to throw in a little bit of improvements that I think could be made to this product. Included with the kit is a polyketone pressure lid. Essentially, this is the heart and soul of the pressure kit. It's made out of polyketone, like I just said, which is a plastic. It's of high quality. Mine has beautifully cut threads. Some of the seams are still visible. Again, this is a company, Brewtools, that's known for making high-end home brewing equipment, making something as cheaply as they're willing to. Essentially, they've come down to the same level as everybody else. Your Spike Brewings, your Blickmans, your SS Brewtechs, and so on. For a lot of you guys, this is gonna be your first chance and first glimpse of something in the Brewtools ecosystem that is of an affordable price. Besides that, what else is included? There's a pressure gauge that fits via a threaded kind of quick coupling type Durotite shark bite stainless steel connection. It also comes with a PRV. It also comes with a 34 millimeter tri-clamp beverage out post, as well as a 34 millimeter tri-clamp. It also has a floating dip tube, about a meter of silicone tubing, 5 gaskets for that single 34 millimeter. It has a barb fitting that threads in to that dip tube, making sure you have a nice tight seal with a good O-ring. It also has a stainless steel float, and with something I've not seen before, it has a cotter key to hold the float to the little pickup tube. It's pretty slick. It's better than fiddling with like a keyring that everyone else uses. I really like that. Last but not least, also included is their mini adjustable spunning valve. This thing is super trick. We're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. The first thing you're going to want to do with any new stainless steel is to clean it. I oftentimes use a sonic cleaner. I have 2 of them. I'm showing my small one. This guy is heated up to 80 degrees Celsius. I often let it run for just a few minutes. Today I just set it for 30 minutes and walked away because I was doing other stuff. But this cleans everything. I used Exchilerator brewing wash for this one. I can't stress this enough. It's critical, in my opinion, to lube all of these O-rings. All these fittings that require screwing in have a detents to either put a wrench on or something like that. I was able to get mine to seal hand tight, no problem. That just depends on how strong you are. If you have to use a wrench, obviously that's no problem. Just remember, do not over tighten. So first things first, I highly recommend, like I said, get some keg lube, lube the O-rings, just lube them up. It works really, really well. It's gonna help everything to go together a lot better. If some gets on the threads, honestly, that's not a bad thing either. It's really critical that you don't cross thread. Cross threading is pretty easy to do, so I'm gonna show you right now my tips and tricks on how to avoid cross threading your components. If you've made it this long into the video, I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe and like. It means a lot. So when you go to screw one of these in, again, it is a super fine threads. When you go to screw this guy in, it's really critical, and we'll zoom in here in a close-up. There's a point, I like to go anti-clockwise and then clockwise, and you'll feel it kind of click into place. And as you're threading this in, there should not be any kind of tension at all. It should just screw right in super simply. If you feel it start to bind or get tight until it's physically screwed in, you are gonna bind it and strip it. You really wanna avoid this. And that goes for all the threads. The PRV itself has a pretty aggressive thread on it. I do recommend, as far as this one, the same thing. Put it in there, go anti-clockwise just a second to get it to seat, and then screw it in and tighten it up, hand tight, like I said, for me, sealed up just fine. The next thing you're gonna wanna do is cut your silicone tubing for your dip tube to length. Now this will vary on what you plan on doing with the vessel, but as a general rule of thumb, you wanna put it on the end of the float, and this is kind of fiddly. I really wish the float itself here had a nicely machined barbed end on it. It's not impossible. Hopefully down the road there'll be some fancy stainless steel strainer to go on this with a nice machined barb fitting. It'll just click on like butter. So once you have that in there, drop that in your vessel. In this instance today, I'd let it drop all the way down to the bottom. I left a little bit of slack on top because the actual lid of this sits up a little bit higher, and then that intake dip tube, if you will, on that gas out, that sits down a little bit tiny deeper inside. So this is where I have mine cut. Just cut it. It's super simple. Don't be afraid, even though we know I hate to cut silicone. I do not like it. So cut that guy and you're in business. At this point, you'll put the pressure kit on top of your MiniUni, do up the tri-clamps. I recommend whenever you build a unitank, even if it's your 50th time to pressure test it, it's super simple and far better now to put a little bit of pressure on this than waiting till you're dumping beer into it and find out you've done something incorrectly and you have a leak. So I always pressure test all of my equipment, just a couple pounds, make sure it holds pressure to know I won't have any leaks, because you know, a sticky mess is never good. Nobody likes ants, that's for damn sure. One thing I'm really impressed with is the mini adjustable spunding valve. This thing is really elegant and pretty trick. It has the finest control, honestly, of any other spunding valve I've ever used. It's really impressive, and it's just that fine degree of control. Hopefully they make fittings so you can use this on other devices and other manufacturers' products, but this is, let me grab it and show you kind of what makes it so trick. It's, man, it's slick. All right, so this one, I've got it right here, and it is, like I said, it's super slick, but what makes it really cool is if we get up here, it's got those 4 inlets for gas, and that lets it interact with that diaphragm and this crazy little hollowed out poppet valve inside. And it just, honestly, some of the secret sauce right there. It dials in pressure like nothing I've ever seen before or dealt with. The pressure comes out through this little hole in the center. You can kind of get a good tactile feel with your finger on there and kind of realize how much gas you're putting out. You can also plug it and adjust it. It's really intuitive. The knurling is really sweet. All in all, this is cool. This is what homebrewing's all about. One of the areas I would like to see improved is the pressure gauge itself. I really wish it had a more precise and finer scale written on there. What I mean is it's counting in too big of increments. I would like to see it more focused on actual homebrewing pressure increments that are commonly used. Yeah, you can dial in 12, 13, 9, 7 pounds, whatever you want, but I really wish the scale was calibrated for that finer control. I do get that the scale of it corresponds with the tank's full range of pressure, but I honestly don't see it being used in those full range maximum pressure for its intended purpose of homebrewing. The PRV is gonna kick in, honestly. So I would love to see Brewtools change this gauge out. And it's not a diaphragm gauge, and that's okay, because they're trying to be cheap here, or inexpensive, if they can. They're doing their best. But really change that text so it's more precise. All in all, the MiniUni is pretty sweet. It's a nice piece of equipment. It is, for many of you, gonna be your first piece of Brewtools kit. It is of a high quality. This is Brewtools, guys, making something as inexpensively as they can. A product, this is like the minimum product they want to put their name on. So just imagine what the other stuff's like. It's real nice. All right, thank you so much for watching. Remember, don't cross-thread things, that's bad. I've been Bradley, homebrewing is good, and I'll see you real soon. All right, well, let's see how I did. What did I miss?